Hey, if you're a burned out nurse and you are looking for something to reignite, rekindle your passion for this career, you are not going to want to miss this interview with Melinda Dean. Welcome to the RN2writer Show. I'm your host, Elizabeth Haynes. I'm a nurse, but I made my living as a freelance writer, and today I help other nurses and honestly any kind of health professional start a writing business too. Hey, before I get started, don't forget to expand the description box on YouTube for links to any resources I might mention. You also can subscribe and click that notification bell so you'll know every time we post new content on YouTube, or if you prefer your information audio only, you can follow our podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Lastly, don't forget to share this podcast with your nurse and clinician friends so they can get in on this great opportunity also. And today we are with one of those nurses. Her name is Melinda Dean. She's an experienced registered nurse and a passionate freelance health writer, dedicated to transforming health information into clear, compassionate stories that empower readers. With over 26 years of hands-on experience in emergency and community healthcare, Melinda understands the questions, hopes, and challenges people face when seeking reliable health information. She draws on her clinical expertise to offer practical tips and evidence-based advice on health and wellness, and her curiosity and experience extend far beyond the medical field. Melinda also enjoys exploring a wide range of topics, including inspiration, lifestyle, resilience. Oh, it's one of my favorite topics too. Human interest stories, and the everyday moments that shape our lives. When Melinda's not writing, she cherishes spending quality time with her family, traveling, and exploring nature. And you can find Melinda at healthnarrativepro.com, and you will find a link for that in the description box below this video. Welcome, Melinda.
Hello, how are you? Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here, Melinda, because, well, for many reasons, because you're a delightful person and you're doing so well, but also because nurses hear about RN2writer and they ask us, like, what's a typical expectation for someone like me who knows nothing about this industry coming into it? I see you have lots of, wow sort of case studies on your website, but what's a typical student journey like? And I feel that your journey fits that to a T. I feel like the journey you have had since you started technically about a year ago, but really didn't really get into it for about 10 or 11 months ago. And so I'm delighted to have you here so you can tell your story. So let's get right into that. The first thing I want to know is, what was the impetus for you to even start looking for a career change? How did that happen?
Oh, goodness. I would say it's your typical nurse burnout. All of my experience or the majority of my experience has been in emergency. I started out in EMS. I worked my way up all the way to paramedic, and then I became an ER nurse. And the majority of my experience has been in the emergency department. So definitely a lot of high adrenaline over the years, and it wears on you. After a while, there's a lot of burnout, but I think any field that any nurse that's in currently, there's a lot of burnout. Whatever your specialty is, I think pretty much all nurses are experiencing burnout. Our healthcare system is struggling with supporting nurses. I feel like they need as much as they need to. I feel like there's a lot of nurses that are looking to get away from bedside, and that was me. I wanted to still use my nurse brain. I still wanted to use all of my nursing experience and the knowledge that I've gained, because I still feel like that's very relevant in my life and very important. And with my experience, I feel very solid in my foundation, and I feel like I'm a very strong nurse. I am just tired of being at bedside. And a lot of it was, I think we all enter nursing just to help people. We all say that. I think most of us say that because we want to help people, and we want to help people in some of the most difficult times that they have, right? And but it wears on you as a nurse. It can wear you out mentally, physically, emotionally. It's tough. So I still want to be able to use my nurse voice and my nurse brain and my knowledge and help people in a different way. And I came across your program a while back. I read through the book, didn't do anything with it. And then I picked it up again when I reached that point again. And I'm like, okay, I have got to do something else with my career. I think a lot of nurses feel, once they get into their career, whatever particular specialty they're in, or even if they change specialties, we kind of feel stuck, that this is all we can do. This is the level of money that we can make, and we're kind of stuck because this is what we're trained for, and this is where our education is, and what else are we going to do? And that's what I was looking for. What else can I do? And I came across your program. I got burned out, picked the book up again, read through it again, and then I learned that you had other instructional programs, and I definitely felt like that was what I needed, was more instruction. Help me figure out how to break into this, because there's something that I feel like I can add in this realm, and this may be something that may be exactly what I'm looking for to leave bedside permanently.
So, for those of you who are listening and want to know about the book, it's an ebook. It's called Design Your Dream Career as a Nurse Writer, and you can find a link for it in the description box. It's only $6. So, a lot of nurses are looking for something else because, like you said, right now, the situation in healthcare is very stressful for nurses, especially, I think. And they're looking for something different to do. And they find other options like this, or like life coaching or wellness coaching or something. But there's a difference between finding an option and having a belief that you can do it. What was it about this option that made you think, you know what, this could work for me?
Oh goodness. Well, that came through a very difficult time in my life, actually. The first time I ever wrote anything other than what we're mandated to do in school to get through our programs and our research papers and all the stuff that we have to do there was many, many years ago. I believe it was back in 1995. My mom was in the hospital, and I had a 3-hour drive to get to her. And along that drive, all of a sudden, this song just came out of nowhere. And I just started writing the song for her. And I came up with the lyrics and the music. And I'm a singer. My family's very musical, but I had never written a song before. And it came out of my emotions, is where it came from. And then back in 2019, I lost my late husband of 33 years. And it was an extremely emotional, difficult, brutal time for me to go through. And I came across a grief writing course that was for 30 days. And throughout that writing course, each day I would get a prompt on what to write on. But what surprised me is not my grief that came out, because that was very beneficial and helpful there, but it was what came out on the page. And when I would look back at it, I was like, holy smoke, that's actually really good. I mean, even just that's really good content, not just my emotions that were coming out, but what I actually came out on the page and the writing that came out on the page. And I was like, dang, there's really something here. And I feel like through that horrible experience, it tapped into something that I honestly didn't even realize that I had. Always felt like other people were the writers. I never really considered myself a writer before. But when I saw that come out of me, it ignited a passion in me that had never been there before.
I'm sorry about your loss, and I think we've talked before in the coaching that that's something we share because I also lost my husband after 33 years. And the word that resonated with me was brutal. It is, that's exactly how I would describe that period too. And yet we're able to move forward and find new meaning. And it's great that you were able to do that in this grief writing program. And not only that, but you were like, oh, wait a minute, I've got some writing talent here to work with. And so when you came together then with our ebook, you were like, maybe that could happen for me. I'm curious to know, did you have any previous, self-employment or business experience?
Yes, a little bit. After my late husband passed away, I did briefly enter into the insurance world with life insurance, health insurance. I've realized after my husband passed away how important life insurance was, and I wanted to be able to help other people in that way. So yes, it takes a lot of, you have to have an entrepreneurial mindset. There's a lot of self accountability because nobody else is going to hold you accountable for this. So you have to have a lot of internal drive and a lot of commitment and make yourself be all in to be able to pursue this. But I did quickly find out that I'm not a salesperson, and that was not what I wanted to do. Still wanted to help people in that way, but I wasn't going to be pursuing people to do that. And I didn't feel like that was the ultimate path that I wanted to take. So I do have some experience with it, yes. And I feel like that has helped me in my current situation in developing my freelance writing career.
So you read the ebook, you discovered we have programs, you enrolled in our what I call introductory type program, which is called the Nurse to Writer Bridge. And then you progressed to Get Paid Well to Write, which is the foundational course that teaches everything about freelancing. What was the early part of that journey like for you? And were you worried that, oh no, this is going to be sales again, and I already did sales and I don't want to do that? Or how did that work and what did you find out?
Oh no, I didn't feel like it was sales at all. Maybe a tiny little aspect of it of like you're selling yourself. It sounds strange, but you're promoting what you have to offer in a professional way that is look, this is what I have to offer. I have this education, I have this experience, I have the authority as a nurse to speak on this. So it gave me it felt empowering, honestly, but not like a salesperson. I don't feel like I'm a salesperson. I'm not trying to sell somebody on my idea. I'm trying to let people know the validity of what I have to offer and that I'm a legitimate source for you. And why not me to write it for you?
Exactly. I tell people in the coaching or anybody who asks about the sales, I say, you're not selling yourself. Like we're selling our services. We're not even selling them. We're offering people our services. If they want them, great. And if they don't want them, okay, that's fine too. I'll go find somebody who does want them. So it's very different from like any kind of hard sales. It's just not that because there's so much opportunity out there. We don't have to hard sell anybody. It's not like we're going to twist your arm and try to get you to buy something that you may not even think you need. The people we're marketing to all know that they need it and they want it and they're looking for experts like us to write it. So that part's a little easier. So what, if not the sales part or the marketing part of this, what early obstacles do you feel like you had to overcome to get through the program or get a paying client?
I think one of the biggest obstacles for me to overcome is what you refer to as the imposter syndrome, because I didn't have years of experience of as a writer that I felt like who I just needed somebody to give me a chance, and who's going to give me a chance without me having all of this previous experience. So it felt a little daunting initially, just trying to get to that point. But interestingly enough, it went very smooth for me. So, I mean, I really hit the program, I think, pretty hard last October. By December, I had my first clips published. By January, I had my first paid writing assignment, and then it just started flowing from there. So I I don't know that it's that easy for for everyone. I'm not saying that it was super easy for me, but it just started flowing, and I've just been going with the flow ever since.
See, that's why I think that your story is pretty typical because we do collect data. We rely on self-reporting. Granted, we poll our program participants. And the process you went through reflects what we have found, that by the time people have gotten through Get Paid Well to Write, and sometimes earlier, they have their first paying assignment. And in your case, it's been steady. There's been a cadence to it because you can tell me what you think. I always feel like breaking the ice, getting that first paying client or assignment is sometimes the harder part. And for some reason, once we do that, then like you put it, it starts to flow and we like start to get an assignment once a month or every couple of weeks or however we want to market for it. Has that been your experience?
Yes, most definitely. Most definitely. When I got my very first clips published last December, um, just the it's very validating. I cried the first time I had a clip published. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm a published writer. I am a published writer." And it just the reality of it hit. It's like, "Oh my gosh, I can do this. I'm published. I can do this. I can just keep going." And that has motivated me to keep going. But I feel like I have so much to offer at this point where I definitely have gained confidence. Um, the passion that was instilled in me through the grief writing has just exploded with this, especially with the validation of you actually have something published out there now. It's just everything has just been a super validating experience for me. And it's enabled me to just get up and keep doing it every day.
As if it takes a lot of motivation because it's honestly, if you're listening or watching this podcast, um, getting up and having coffee and anymore in the mornings, I do a little 10-minute like light workout, Tai Chi, a little yoga or something. And then I go into my office and it's like it is nothing like working in clinic, like nothing at all. So it takes to me much less motivation to do this than to get the scrubs on, et cetera, et cetera.
No comparison. No
So
comparison to the stress as being bedside as a nurse. I mean, there's some stress that goes along, I think, with anything that you do that's worth pursuing. There's going to be some stress along with it, but nothing compared to my stress level has gone from goodness 150 down to almost nothing. So yeah.
I want to also point out to our audience that we're talking about a steady cadence of assignments. We're not talking dollars in this podcast. We have plenty of podcasts where people tout their money. My point in talking about cadence of assignments and just simply getting regular assignments is that today, when people could use a little extra money, this is a great option for just make the car payment, just make the student loan payment, just make the mortgage payment, whatever, put it in retirement. And your journey in establishing like flowing baseline income, regardless of the amount, is the absolute way to build this and ramp it up to whatever you want. So tell us a little, what does your freelance writing career look like today? But more importantly, tell us, how has your life changed as a result of this?
Oh goodness. Well, as far as what it looks like now, I mean, I feel like I'm on a regular, I do feel like I'm on a regular cadence with it. I feel um, it's established, it's been very validating It's established a level of confidence that I have in that I'm pursuing the right thing, that this definitely was a good move for me, to be able to continue to pursue that. My ultimate goal is for it to completely replace and bypass my total nursing income. Um, I'm I'm on the way. I'm heading towards that direction. But even at this point, I'm not as focused on the amount that I'm making per month versus testing my writing skills and challenging myself to see what can you write about. I've even branched off of nursing a little bit with this in some of my articles. I even wrote a finance article a few months back. And quite honestly, the majority of the ideas that I have for what I pitch to the publications for to write for is stuff from real life. It's either my own life or somebody close to me or my own, anything that I've come across. It's real life experiences. And that's where my ideas are coming from. The finance article came from, okay, all of a sudden I'm a widow and we may not have planned for our retirement as well as we should have. What now? How am I going to rework the budget? How do I even, it's not that I didn't know how to work a budget, but I didn't used to do it by myself. And what's important about it? What things do you need to look for? And that's where the finance article came from. So it's not nursing, but I've got a passion for writing for any topic that comes along. And so I'm not restricting myself to just medical, though those are the ones that I tend to write on the most, of course, because that was kind of the whole point, just to be a nurse writer or health wellness writer or something in the healthcare realm, which is obviously where all of my education and experience is. But it opens doors to write on other things as well and follow your passion. That's kind of what I'm doing, is just following my passion. And it's kind of evolving. It's not the same now that it was 6 months ago. It's definitely evolved.
That is the absolute. I want everyone in the audience to understand what you said about write about what's happening in your life. That is the tried and true method for novice or new freelance journalists coming into this career. And if everybody wants to go look up episode 1 of the RN2writer Show, Jennifer L.W. Fink, who's very successful, the original boy mom, that's exactly what she did too. And she talked about it in that episode. It's what I did. It's what you're doing. It's like everything when you realize, when your brain starts to recognize that everything occurring is a potential story idea, it can almost be a little overwhelming because it's like, which one should I pick to work on? But it really doesn't matter either. It's like, this is what I feel like working on today. This is what I'll pitch today. And I would like the audience to understand also that we don't always have to pitch article ideas either. On the content marketing side of writing, our clients just assign us stuff to write and we write it. So if ideation is not a person's strong suit, they can still succeed at this, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree. I have not done content market or content writing yet, but I'm open to exploring all areas of it just to find kind of where I end up long term.
And I love that you're not limiting yourself either, because that's a key too. Just write about whatever you want. Like, yes, you're probably going to find more success writing health topics because it benefits the publication or the client to have someone with initials like RN, NP, etc. writing that content. It helps them with search engine optimization usually. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't write about all the other stuff that we love as well. So you were saying that stress level from 150 into the basement with this career. And you said that, your goal is to eventually exceed your nursing income so you can just be a writer. So what's kind of like in the near future for Melinda Dean in terms of where you think you want to go with this?
Um, I have a long-term goal of a book. I definitely want to write a book.
Yay.
Um, one of the um, one of the first articles that I have published was on as being a widow, and there was so many different publications, different people that I would follow on social media, books that I read that helped me, that other people had written to help brand new widows or anybody brand new and I don't want to necessarily just focus on widows. I just focusing on grief and loss and whatnot. There's so many people that helped me that I feel like and I never even dreamed that I would be at this point, even though people said, oh, you'll be able to help other people through this someday. Never dreamed that that day would ever come. But I feel like there were so many people that helped me, not necessarily personally, but through the written word, that I want to be able to do the same. I've actually started doing TikTok, and I'm just doing little inspirational quotes. And I've started that recently, and that's just kind of what I'm doing on the side, not for a money making opportunity, but just to put some inspirational quotes out there. There's so many little things that pop in my head, and I thought, well, why not use that as an outlet? Just start throwing some inspirational quotes in an outlet, and it's reaching it's reaching people. There's one that I did the other day, and it already has almost 900 views and it's just a quote that I wrote. Um, and so I'm enjoying that. So I know pretty strongly that I feel like I would be able to make a difference helping people through my writing. And if I can bring my nursing experience into that as well at the same time, and I really feel like I can just weave it through the whole process, that I feel like it will be able to reach a lot of people. So that's my long-term goal is to work on that. And that's been stewing and more recently. It keeps stewing. So I feel like I'm probably going to start on it sooner than later.
What's your TikTok handle?
Musings with Melinda.
Awesome. Everybody go follow Musings with Melinda. Well, this has been fantastic. I mean, I love you. I love your mindset. I have one last question for you, which is, a lot of the nurses and all healthcare professionals really who listen to this podcast are feeling burned out and they're struggling and they are looking for alternatives. And so what would you say to them regarding whether this might work for them too?
Absolutely have belief that it can, because just purely for the fact that you're with the degree that you have and the experience that you have as a nurse, you have a voice, because we speak that voice to our patients on a daily basis. Every time we walk in the room, if you're in the hospital or clinic or whatever with discharge instructions, we're giving them education. We're educating our patients on new medications, new diagnoses. Anything that we chart in the computer, we're constantly writing every single day as nurses. And you can do it. You do it on a daily basis with the spoken word, then you can absolutely do it with the written word. And you don't have to have a special degree in writing, thanks to you. And I have to give kudos to you and your program, because you did this on your own. And then other nurses saw you doing it and they admired what you were doing. And they're like, oh, how do you do this? And you just decided, okay, well, I'm going to start teaching nurses how to do this. So you've paved the path for other nurses that want to be able to do this. And you're spot on being able to give us exactly what we need to follow that path. So I've had great respect for your program, and I know that other nurses can do the same thing. We're already doing it on a daily basis. So if you're really wanting to give this a try, just have the belief that you can. Because here's two questions you can ask yourself on a daily basis. Well, what if I fail? What if I fail? And then you can list all the reasons what's going to happen if you fail. But then why not flip it and say, and I got this from a Mel Robbins podcast, so this is not my original thought, but it resonated with me, because flip the question and ask, well, what if I succeed? What if it does work? What if I succeed? And then you have to determine, what does success mean to you? Am I looking to make $200,000 a year? That would be wonderful. But that's not my measure of success. My measure of success for me is the purpose, the passion, the validation, and just the confidence that this has given me. To me, that right in it, right there is successful enough. And if I get to a point where I have great financial success from that, then hallelujah. I'm thankful for that. Let's go. But that's not my ultimate purpose. So I'll take it, but it's not my ultimate purpose.
But I think that you just did a great job of defining what's important in life. You know, those of us, you and me, and people who have experienced that brutal loss, it clarifies rapidly what's important. And
absolutely,
we may all feel that money's important. Money is important to a certain level. I mean, we have to have money to survive. But when it comes down to the nitty-gritty of human existence, money ain't it. It's all the other things that you talked about, having the passion and helping people, and, you know. So thank you for that.
Oh, you know what? We forgot to mention. The most recent article that I had published was made as their main feature for that day. And that was a huge, huge, huge excitement and huge validation for me. So there's tons of stories that they publish on a regular basis. There's lots of stories they publish, but for mine to be the main feature, holy smoke, I was just beside myself. I was so excited over that. And that was extremely validating that my story was chosen as the main feature. Wow.
And for the audience, we're talking about Next Avenue, nextavenue.org, or you can go over to Melinda's website and look at her samples, her published clips, and you can click through. But yeah, that is huge. You haven't been doing this long, and yet Next Avenue has been publishing your work regularly, and then wham, it's the featured article of the day. That has got to be super gratifying.
Oh my gosh, I was over the moon. I was so excited.
Well, Melinda, it's been just terrific having you on here. I want to encourage everybody to go over to healthnarrativepro.com to see you, follow you on TikTok or whatever social media you're on, catch you on LinkedIn maybe. If you have questions for us, if you're watching or listening, put them in the comments below. If you'd like to be on the podcast, put that in the comments below or send us an email. And thank you again, Melinda, and everyone. We'll see you next time on the next episode of the RN2writer Show.